Are you going to put aside that first tithe of the deposit, or
about the full one?
Or the full one?
I know.
Today we're talking about finances. For me as a creative, it's one of the things I think I've seen very many people, even me, times like it's something we don't really pay attention to in the beginning. Last week, you said something that was really interesting about how like you start with gigs of like 300,000 and moved upwards, and that was something I really wanted to begin from. Is like, how do you know? How do you get to a point where you want to jump to the next step in finances, or are there some signs you look for?
Are there signs that show you how to jump from one level to the next level in terms of your pricing for your products and stuff like that? I feel like the process works. I feel like the process in a creative journey works. And that process has all those things, the different milestones, the things that lead you to the next level. And there are signs there that will show you through the kind of clients you'll get, the referrals that you'll get. So I feel like as long as you're willing to go through the process, that process does work. I think people only got issues because they try to skip stages, or you find a 20-year-old comparing their page 20 to someone else's page 28. And then they'll have unrealistic expectations. But as long as you're willing to go through the process, you find that things work out.
Nice. Let me first get some hats. Get your perspective of, if I'm a creative, now to give a background a bit, when as a creative, most of us start out when we are not necessarily taught. I think Tracy studied, right? But now guys like me who didn't really study the thing and just got into it, and then you land in this position of you're now earning money from something you didn't even learn, and then today you're getting 300,000. Tomorrow someone may give you $1 million. Then someone, and the thing about that freelance thing, it's not really a stable thing for most people. Like you don't know what next month is. So what would you think with that kind of volatile work? What would you do for? What would you advise that person to do?
Fine.
Is it fine?
Really?
It's a red card.
It's okay. It's alright.
I thought as long as it's red.
For spades.
And spades red?
No.
Oh no, they are not.
I think that, as the woman of God has said, the processes are very important. You know, when you find yourself in something that you can't back up, it's easy for you to lose it without knowing. But the processes also follow with you understanding that I'm now in a place where I want to move. As long as you can identify that I want to move to the next level, there are things that you'll pursue to move to a certain level. And some of the things here go to the place of having to be under someone. It's an easy process of learning. Some people go ahead to take on courses for a certain thing, because you could be an accountant who fell in love with photography.
True.
Or
I did learn economics.
Talk about that. That's a stretch. And you fell in love with that thing. So at the moment you realize you have a passion for something, and it's important that it's backed up with purpose. Because if it's backed up with purpose, you're going to pursue this thing with your heart, not pursuing money, but pursuing a purpose of being able to fully achieve that purpose at the end of the day. So I'll put it to the place of when you realize that point, that I want now to move, I want to grow. You start now searching those things that make you that person you want to be. And those things go into the processes she was talking about, and I believe you can look into those processes for someone to get
So
there.
literally you're saying, before even getting to the point of finances, you've got to have a purpose to what you're actually doing. Because if finances is the goal, you're already failing.
Bonus, because you when you look at several people, you're told do a side hustle of all things like this. People are having good jobs, but they want to do a side hustle. And when you go into something without purpose, just because someone
There's
said,
some
oh,
money
there's
there.
this business, you have a God's thing, a God's fun thing. It's easy. You can do 5 gods. They don't need
they
a lot
don't
of
fall
food.
sick.
They don't fall sick. They don't eat
smell.
too much until you realize that the money is not coming in. You start feeling frustrated because you expected that they told you it's 3 years. Your 3 years haven't amounted like the other person. And because definitely you start feeling frustrated. It's not making the money. You want the earnings to turn over very fast. That without purpose will make you feel frustrated. So very important.
That's very true.
I think to add on what she said, that thing she talked about processes, that when you have a why, which I think she's calling purpose, when you have a why and then you're going through the process, things like financial increase or prices increasing and your value changing, those things are inevitable additions. As long as you're going through the process authentically. The only thing that happens when you go through the process authentically is that there has to be growth. It's a must. And the growth looks like growth in terms of the value you bring to the table, and that results into growth in terms of the money you're able to charge. And not even charge, it comes to a point where people just pay you because they see the value that you bring. So like people start paying you for the value more than the skill. But what turns the skill into value is that process that you go through. So I feel like finances and those things are inevitable if you go through the process. So I feel like maybe the conversation we should have is after you go through the process for most creatives, because you're passionate about the things we do, and then we start creating value that is bringing in more finances. The question is how do we manage? Because the thing is the finances coming through are inevitable if we are growing. But now the question is how do you manage when you get there? How do you make that money create more value for you, for other people, but also how do you expand it and increase it? Yes.
That's the conversation. Before we get lost, who's playing?
She was supposed to be playing.
Oh,
I asked
someone
for hearts.
asked for hearts. Definitely, I am going to pick
You're gonna
hearts.
pick?
Thank you.
That's a very interesting question because definitely we've got that. That's a very good place to start. I think you're picking 2 at this time, or you're making me pick.
I'm gonna make you pick.
You're gonna make oh my days.
It's a comeback.
Okay, I'll come back to that. Okay,
But also sometimes people may not exactly know their why as creatives, because creatives are driven by passion. But then even without knowing their why, they'll go through the process.
That's the thing I would also want to talk about, because when everywhere you go, TikTok, what then you follow your passion. Follow your dream. What's that thing burning? And even the few years I've been doing this, I've realized that passion won't take you far. Because there are days you'll be burnt out and the passion is not waking you up to do that thing, to finish those edits.
Recently I was listening to someone called Beyond Duty by Apostle Emma, and he said, you're not supposed to just be passionate about what you do. You have to be passionate about what you have to do. For what you do. That also comes into now a place of finances as creatives. Because you are passionate about, let's say, photography. You can't say, I'm passionate about photography, I don't like numbers. You have to be passionate about the numbers because you're going to have to deal with your money. So I think it's a question of discipline, like the different disciplines that creatives can extend themselves into outside their line of work. If you're a graphics designer or you're a photographer, videographer, you have to extend yourself into other disciplines to help you manage your.
I also think that right now there are several, I would say, online platforms or YouTube videos that teach people on so many things to do with finances. And if you're looking into finances, you first of all need to do your bookkeeping. That's records management, as anyone. Records management, you have to record the income that is coming into your business, and also you have to be able to record the expenses you're making, because it's important to know how much is coming into your business and how much you'll be able to spend, so that you're able to know how much you're going to invest.
At what point should someone start thinking about the financial bit, like the accounting bit. For example, most people start out as freelancers before moving into corporations and what. How does someone what's the dynamic there for a freelancer and then for someone who wants to start a company, like with a friend, they're starting to hire people? Are there different dynamics to that, or should you have the same mindset as a sole proprietor?
No, definitely. For a sole proprietor is different from a company in terms of setting, the bookkeeping, the partnership. There is a partnership, there is a company, there is a sole proprietor. So if you're looking into having a company, maybe two or with directors and all that, it's important. One, you have a registered company because you won't do any business without your business being registered. But also you need to be able to have a certain knowledge as of the accounts, some small knowledge for you to be able to tell your accountant that something hasn't been done in your business. You have to have that knowledge about it. So some slight knowledge, yes, will help. Even I know that there are some things that you may not do as the photographer you are or the video editor that you are. You could employ the services of an accountant also, but it's important that you have that little knowledge of what they do really.
Yeah, I like giving the example of Mark Cuban. He said something along the lines of, if you're an entrepreneur and you don't know anything about accounts, you're going to fail. Yeah. And someone was counteracting with like, I can easily hire someone to do this, but it's like, but they're going to come and tell you those things, and you're not going to understand anything. You're not going to be able to make any decisions. So I think it's very important to have that understanding of bookkeeping.
Yes,
right?
Definitely.
That's interesting. The other thing I would think creatives also have to go through is the point of when should I go off. It's me, right? It's coming back quick. When should I get to the point where I collaborate? How do you manage to do that with people? Like, do you have to come clean early, or do you have to have a certain understanding with the people you're going in to the business with, in terms of finances, who's doing this, what's the percentage here and there, so that there are no issues? Because I've seen very many issues. You're giving us. Give us.
Many cards.
I was trying to be nice, but it had to move.
2 to go.
We shuffle. Maybe Miriam can give us an understanding of that, because we are the business of Miriam Matsemba, right? The brand. Have you delved into that part where you're collaborating with people on a project? Are you sharing the cost, or is it you coming in with your own cost?
I think that before you get to a place where you're having to collaborate with other people, if in terms of the conversation you're having today about finances, you need to first of all, at a personal level, have a system that works for your money already, for you as a person. That you have that sense of ownership and mastery over your own finances. As long as you cannot maintain your own house, the moment you invite visitors in, or the moment you go to another person's house, you're going to go with any protocol that you find. And every time, I read something interesting. They said, money that doesn't have a vision will die. It will definitely die. As long as you have money and don't have a vision for it, it's going to die. So by saying you must have a system that works for your money, it means that when you have that system that works for your money, you sort of have a vision, because money is very spiritual, and it's like a servant. It listens to people, and it likes masters that are very clear cut. If you're giving confusing instructions, it's going to leave you for a master who can articulate the instructions better. So before you get into a place where you're having to collaborate with anyone, first turn the light onto yourself. How are you cleaning your own house? How are you managing your own finances? This is mine.
Yes.
It's
you playing.
Like, how do you manage your own finances? Do you have a system that works for your money? Because when you have that, then it means by the time you're in a place where you're having to collaborate with other people, you already sort of have a language that money understands, and then you can be able to communicate with that language even with someone else. But then that also helps to inform you about which people you can work with and which people you cannot work with. Because, for example, in terms of registering a business together as collaborators, like you come together and put a business together, if you don't have a system and a vision for your money, you're either going to fall for anything, or if you have one, you're able to say, I would love to have a business with you, but for example, you don't believe in tithing, or you don't believe in fast food. So I think having a system that works for your money at a personal level should be the first thing that you do before you think about getting into collaboration with other people.
So meaning, if someone doesn't have any financial knowledge, it's a red flag before you collaborate with them.
It could be actually a good thing, because it means you can, for lack of a better word, manipulate them. You'll have, because you're going to have the upper hand.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have the upper hand, because as long as people don't have a vision, you can take them anywhere. Like at any point, because they don't have a plan. That means if you get into a partnership with someone who doesn't have a plan for their finances, two things will happen. Either they're going to drag you down to their level, and then you'll wake up and you made, like, let's say, you could get a gig of like 30 million, and then the gig ends and the money has also ended. Because you both don't have a vision. Or they don't have and you have, and you either help them or you're going to take advantage of them.
I'm talking about vision. I think as you collaborate with someone to maybe register a company of sorts together, you should be able to move with someone who has a similar vision as you, because definitely there should be something that brings you together.
No, are you below 20 before you cut?
I think so. Are you sure?
You sure? What was those cuts?
Pass with them.
14.
20.
You're not? 14?
How many do you have?
Nothing.
So you mean I can't cut?
No, below 20. First take your 2 cuts.
Oh my God.
Oh dear. You have to have someone who has a similar vision as you, so that when you come up to bring up ideas on how to go forward, you're not struggling to pull someone to your level. That makes certain decisions easy, even when they do not know things. It's easy to pull them up, but if you have different, then it's easy for you guys to be in a certain.
I don't know. I want to touch that a bit. Many companies, right? You find, like Microsoft, even Microsoft itself, you find that I think the vision usually is on one person. Most of the time, right? But you always find that person who connects to that vision, right?
Definitely.
And I've seen it with certain companies. It's like you almost have to have an exit plan, right? Because there will be that partnership for a while, and then someone will want to go another direction at a certain point, and it's something you have to prepare for, because it's also financial. It hurts you financially.
I think also most times people have bad breakups in business because they don't have anything on paper. You come up with a friend, you have a long chat for like 6 hours. Oh, we should start this business. Then you start talking, oh, we're going to do this, and that. But you don't put anything on paper. You don't define anything.
Nothing is legally binding.
So you end up having problems in the future because nothing was really defined. How are we going to handle finances? How are we going to do administration? How are we going to get clients? You know? So I think also having contracts is important, even though is it a contract or an agreement?
It's a contract, definitely.
It's a contract. It's important when you're doing business with other people. Like now I think freelancers who plan to collaborate in the future should have that agreement prepared, like prior, before they reach out to any collaborator, so that when the time comes and the person allows to work with you, you have something that you're going to give them to make the process easier and to make sure that everything is clear.
Listening to Tracy, something came into my head. The other thing, when she talked about having something that is legally binding, I also thought about the fact that as creatives, sometimes we are limited to having our skills, and then we associate with people who have similar skills, then we get into business with them. I feel like one of the things that can also help us in terms of like how you're talking about, maybe time will come when the business has grown and then you need to go different ways. They need to normalize seeking for professional help as creatives. There are people who may not have the skills we have, but then they have skills about corporate work, about relationships, about communication, and those skills, like they have mastered them so well, and they can actually help us make certain decisions.
That's actually the business side.
The business side of things. So I feel like as creatives, we need to normalize the whole thing of investing in ourselves by investing in other professionals
Yeah.
that would be helpful to us. Because there is a tendency with creatives, especially now, like in Africa, in Uganda, we are usually self-taught. So we're used to self-teaching ourselves everything. You want to learn about finances, you go self-teach. You're having, like, for example, you find people who have a company as creatives and then they cannot communicate about certain stuff. And then maybe there's no place to self-educate about that. So they need to be open to consulting with other experts in other fields to come in and advise us.
The heart for the person who's just beginning.
There's
There's times in creativity where you have that point where, let's say, you have a gig. Let's say the gig is 1.4 million, perhaps, but you're not going to get. Usually, you don't get that 1.4 at once.
Yes, you
get a deposit. How does someone handle that?
If you're collaborating.
Not necessarily collaborate, even alone. Because in your life, you have to plan for the future, right? But like, there's also upkeep and stuff like that. And probably they're going to first deposit like 500k. You get it? Then you're like, I'll use the other balance to do the other things for the business. Let me first spend this one. Yeah, and then I move. When this other money comes, I'll do the tithe, and stuff like that. But when the money comes, that one is already done. So you come to this and you're like, now I need to do this. You get it? So is that a place of having someone you're accountable to? Because most of the time, it's as a freelancer, it's your money. No one is there telling you, no, you need to do this, you need to do that.
Personally, from experience, I think firstly you have to know how to handle money. If they give you a deposit, what are you going to do? Are you going to put aside that first tithe of the deposit, or
about the full one?
Or the full one? I know the balance will come, but you know you're in the perfect will of God. So you have to really look inside yourself and be like, now, am I going to tithe first? Or am I going to pay myself first? So
because the world teaches you pay yourself first. Like, first go and have some nice Javas, and things will come later.
But I think principles come first. For me, principles come first.
Maybe to just add on what Tracy you're saying, as you earn monies, even with an established company, there could be an agreement. It could be a contract of how things are done, and if it's not a contract and you're still a freelancer and you're getting that money off contract and all that, at least have would use the word conditions a certain way. I can't give you your video until you pay the balance. Create those things that
make sure that you get paid.
That you get paid in time, something like that. But also, like she said, the principles come first. You can't bend anything about that. But then also, I would suggest that as you grow, have a mind of investment. Because when you have a mind of investment, if it's 1.4 and you're removing your 140 plus 10,000, we've been told to add 1 plus that. You're doing your 150, your tithe. Have something that demands you to invest. Because that's in a sense will help you to swallow up the money in expenses and everything that you need to do, so that as the money comes to you, you know that I have a certain investment I'm making for maybe 500,000 per month. It limits your expenditure in a way, and also helps you strategize well what you really have to spend on in this category. And like I said, put a certain guidelines, or not guidelines really, but put conditions to receiving your money, because you need to receive it. Otherwise, certain clients literally may not pay you,
or will pay you 3 months later.
And yet there are things that you need, and you can't pay tithe 3 months later when you worked in month A. Meaning you have to pay back that money. You have to tithe the money in that month at the end of that month. So those small conditions will help you to get your money in time.
I also think that after the principles, something that would be good for creatives to do is, like she said, investments. If you have a subscription for maybe a site where you get stock photos, data, it would be a good thing to clear some of the expenses that you as a business need to cover
for that project.
Because it helps not only on that project but also the other clients that you work with.
An investment doesn't alone look like you should put money in land, but you could invest in your capital expenditures. Those are the cameras you need.
Exactly.
Like, so for example, you
The
have
whole
one.
capital expenditure.
Equipment.
So, like, maybe you have one camera, you invest in getting another one. It may not necessarily mean you're saving with a certain club or something, but investing maybe in that capital expenditure that you need at that moment to grow your business. Something like that.
I think it also increases it's funny because even in our field it's funny when I'm sure you've been at sets where like you come with a camera probably and then someone with like a 50 millimeter then someone comes with a 70-200 and they're like that guy must be charging more. Yet you may even have better photos but like just that you have a better equipment.
It's like
in
showing
that
up to the meeting with a Mac.
yes.
And you're
Hey,